So let's start off by answering the question of what a hook rate actually is. Well, it's the percentage of people who reach the 3-second mark in your ads, otherwise known as the 3-second video plays over the number of impressions. Now, the question of what actually is a good hook rate is completely contextual to the industry and the account. But generally, anything over 30% is good. If you've got it over 40%, that's great. And if you can get a hook rate over 50%, then that is amazing. But bear in mind, the hook rate is completely contextual. And at the end of the day, it is a secondary metric. I mean, I could stand there in a bikini and holding the product. That might get a high hook rate, but I don't think it would sell many units. That's why it's important to compare your hook rates against what else is in the ad account and then make your decisions off of that. So take a look at one of our client ad accounts, for example. Currently, our top spending ad has a 51% hook rate, which is insane. But it wasn't always like this. We launched this ad a couple of months ago, and originally it was sitting around about 30% hook rate, so pretty average. So what we did was we looked at the hook rates and the retention charts, and we realized that this ad had a low CPA. It was performing well. We just thought we could get more juice out of the hook. We just thought we could do a better job with the hook. So we bolted on one of our other hooks, and suddenly we started to see the CPA drop even more. And I want to show you the retention chart for this ad because it's pretty crazy. We have 1 in 3 people get into the 10-second mark, which is insane. But again, this is something that we had to iterate on. Originally, when we launched the ad, we saw a drop off around 8 seconds, which was when it cut from one creator to another. So we had to play around with the clips, and now, I mean, you can't see this because I've blurred it out, but we've switched the clips from one creator to another and turned it into a mashup, and now the retention is a lot stronger. I think that there are 2 things that a lot of great ads have. Number 1 is a direct call out, and number 2 is a unique visual. If you can craft a hook that speaks to your target persona, because think about it, if someone serves you an ad with a funny or unique or weird visual that piques your curiosity, and then they pair that with a direct call out about a pain point that you know that you are facing, you are going to stop and watch that ad. So let's go into a few examples of some top performing hooks. And look, with the caveat that I don't have the performance data for most of these ads, but this is what I would be looking for in some top performing hooks. And a great example of that is this ad from Ritual. Now, look how they've got the weird visual. I don't even know how they've pulled this off. They've got the hand coming out of the toilet, and they've paired that with a direct call out of the pain points of their audience: gas, bloating, and diarrhea. If you suffer with these problems, you've got a good chance of stopping to watch the rest of this ad. And then they transition this into a typical problem solution. I also love this hook from Sleep Reset. They are directly calling out their audience by saying, "Hey, sleep deprived friends." And they're using a split screen. But what I want you to have a look at is how they have almost created this before and after effect with the grayscale editing. And this is really smart from them, because what you want to do when you're creating before and after visuals is make the before look as bad as possible and make the after look as good as possible. And doing things like grayscaling or making clips slow or adding edits or graphics can help you do that. And I love how they've juxtaposed the before with the after. So they've used a very subtle technique by making the grayscale before to make the before look worse, which make the after look better, which is very smart. And generally, split screen hooks tend to do well because there's multiple things happening at once, which grabs your attention. The second type of hook that I love to use is the edutainment angle. Now, I want you to take a look at this hook from Stojo. This ad, I know it says it's only been running 1 month, but this ad in some variation has been running for over 12 months. So it's absolutely crushing for them. And the premise is they have a collapsible bowl that replaces your bulky containers for food storage. And they've almost done this cowboy stance stare off where she whips out the Stojo bowl and bowls over the regular bowls. And they've got the cowboy music, she's got the outfit and everything. And it's not just educational, it's entertaining. And that's what I've seen a lot of the top hooks do recently, because it's not enough anymore to just put up your problem solution ad with a typical like, oh, here's 3 reasons why this, or here's whatever. Because it's not enough anymore to just put up your 3 reasons why, your generic problem solution ads. The top ads that I've seen, a lot of them have this in common, where they're not just educational, but they're also entertaining. So she actually spends the first 9-10 seconds of this ad playing out this skit, and at the same time she is calling out the problem. She's saying, say goodbye to your old bulky containers, and then she goes into a more traditional problem solution. So can you think about, for your product, what funny, entertaining, weird, unique kind of skits, ideas, and concepts can you use at the start of your ads, and then you can transition into a more traditional ad format. We did something similar with the Perfect Jean, where you had the guy taking the milk out of the jeans to emphasize the stretch and durability of them. And it was funny. We played it on the big package angle. And that one, once again, has been running for 5 months. But it's something different. And then what we actually did for the rest of the ad is we didn't just stop there. We went to exaggerate the stretch and the durability even more by saying, like, okay, here are the value props, but here's the things that you can do with them. You can grapple them as you pull up walls. You can tug of jean. You can stretch them in very weird and wonderful ways. So it's not just thinking about how am I gonna convey the value props of the product, but how can I convey the value props of the product in a way that's actually entertaining and fun for people to watch. So the next type of hook is one that you use multiple people in. And the reason that you do this is because people generally know that creators are being paid to shoot these ads. They are holding up their iPhone, they're talking about a product, and they get paid for it. Now, when you use multiple people, you almost subconsciously get the viewer to think, well, there's no way that they've gone to all this effort just for an ad. This must be actually something that's organic and authentic, even if it's not. But you almost bypass their sales receptors. A great example of this is this ad by Kizik, which feels super organic. He jumps into the shoes. Once again, this is something that utilizes multiple techniques that we've gone through. He is jumping into the shoes, so it's a visual demonstration where you can clearly see within the first 2 seconds of the ad what the value props is. It's got multiple people because you've got a crowd in the background saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then he jumps in, and within 3 seconds, I know exactly what the problem that is being solved is and what this product can do for me. This idea of making organic hooks is an interesting one. And you can actually take this one step further by literally taking things that have performed on organic and then using them for your paid. Now, I'm not saying you have to rip organic hooks and actually use them in your ads. You probably don't want to do that because you might run into some legislation problems. However, what you can do is you can search for organic posts within inside your industry and your niche. You can find people talking about your product or your problem and then see what kind of content is performing already. Then get creators to reshoot this content because you know that it's already proven. And a great example of this is this ad from Carpe where they have this deodorant that reduces sweat stains. And they've literally taken this organic hook that got, I can't remember, it was something like 1 million views on TikTok. And they've repurposed it in an ad, and then they've just stitched the rest of their ad onto the end of it. So it feels super organic, and you're using something that's already been proven in the algorithm. And it might not be easy to find a hook that is about your problem and it's gone viral, but if you can, then I would definitely be getting that reshot by creators and then using it as a stitch in your ads. And the last type of hook I'm going to go through today is ones that use controversy. I want you to take a look at this ad from Magic Mind. Once again, I know it says that it's only been running 55 days and it's not on at the moment, but this ad has been running in some variation for the last 18 months. It has got millions of views on Facebook and Instagram, and it has absolutely crushed for them. And I think that is largely in part to the hook and the bold statement this video starts off with. He starts off the ad by saying caffeine doesn't give you any energy. And as you can imagine, the comments were going crazy on this. People were just debating back and forth, like literally on that opening line. So he starts off the ad with this controversial take, and then he goes on in the rest of the ad to explain and educate the audience. And then he goes into how his product can be the solution. And once again, this is something that feels very organic. It looks like he's in some kind of podcast or studio, which makes you think that he's on some kind of biohacking or like energy or productivity podcast. Now let's talk about how you can actually use AI to generate hook ideas. So one of our clients is a brand called Opopop.com. They sell gourmet popcorn, very nice gourmet popcorn. And I put some information about their product and their audience into ChatGPT and basically said, you're a direct response advertiser, come up with 10 hooks for a Facebook ad about Opopop. And then I gave it some restraints to work within. And it gave me some good ideas. Look, most of these I probably wouldn't use, but there are a couple on here that I would take into development. So, tired of using the same bland popcorn, prepared to be amazed with Opopop. It's not there, but the idea I like. So, I'd put it through here, get a couple of good ones, and then what you can do is you can actually ask ChatGPT, give me 10 variations of hook 1. Or I want you to do this again, and I want you to focus on X pain point or Y problem. And just keep working on it and working on it until you have ideas that you can take into production. And then once you've done that, you can do the exact same with visual hooks. So remember, we've got the direct call out and the unique visual. This is a direct call out. Let's now pair it with a unique visual. So now I want you to come up with 10 visual hooks. These do not have to be related to the non-visual hooks. And then consider the following. Once again, give it some restraints to work within. And yeah, it came up with some pretty crazy ideas, but also some pretty fun ones as well. Like, for example, this first one, a creator standing with a popcorn bag above their head and letting the popcorn rain down them. That's a good visual hook. And once again, develop these, work on the prompts, and yeah, you'll have some good ideas to combine the visuals with the direct callouts, and you've got yourself a solid hook.